Imagine this. Larry Bird, not in grainy 1980s footage, but in 4K resolution, lighting up defenses in today's NBA. No short shorts, no archaic playbooks. Just one of the greatest basketball minds the game has ever seen, dropped right into a league dominated by pace, space, and three-point bombs. The question is simple. Would Larry Bird dominate in today's NBA, or would the modern game expose him? Let's break it down. Before we get started, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below on where you think Larry Bird would rank among today's stars. Now, let's dive in. Larry Bird isn't just a Hall of Famer. He's a legend whose legacy is carved into the very foundation of the Boston Celtics. At 6'9", with a smooth shooting stroke, an unparalleled basketball IQ, and an ice-cold competitive edge, Bird was the kind of player who could control a game without ever needing to jump over anyone. In the 1980s, he averaged 24.3 points, 10 rebounds, and 6.3 assists per game across 13 seasons. That's not just good. That's elite, even by today's standards. But remember, this was in an era before the three-point shot was truly embraced, before advanced training regimens, and before the luxury of private flights and specialized recovery programs. If you transported Bird to the 2020s, you'd be handing him the benefits of modern sports science, a game designed around spacing, and an environment where players like him aren't just encouraged to shoot from deep, they're expected to. Who's the closest modern-day player to Larry Bird? Some say Luka Doncic. Both are tall playmakers with deceptive quickness, elite court vision, and an ability to score from anywhere. Luka, at 6'7", manipulates defenses with angles and pace. Sound familiar? But Bird's game had a certain grit, an edge that came from not just skill, but relentless competitiveness. While Luka might be the closest stylistic comparison, Bird's personality, the trash talk, the mental warfare, the "I'll tell you where I'm going to shoot from and you still won't stop me" confidence, makes him a breed apart. If Bird played in today's NBA, imagine him in a system like the one run by the Indiana Pacers or Golden State Warriors, movement-heavy, with shooters constantly coming off screens. Bird in pick-and-pops, spotting up in the corner, or running point-forward sets? That's nightmare fuel for defenses. In Bird's era, taking three-pointers was more of a niche skill. The game simply didn't revolve around it. Bird averaged about 1.9 three-point attempts per game in his career. For perspective, Stephen Curry averages around 11. Now picture Bird in 2025. With his shooting touch, coaches would demand that half his shots come from beyond the arc. His percentage would likely rise thanks to better spacing and faster ball movement. More attempts plus high efficiency? That's an instant boost to his scoring average, pushing him well into the 28 to 30 points per game range without breaking a sweat. One of the most common criticisms from modern fans is that players from the 80s wouldn't keep up athletically today. And sure, Bird wasn't the fastest or most explosive guy on the floor. But that's missing the point. Bird didn't need to jump over you. He'd simply get to the right spot before you did. His craftiness, footwork, and ability to read the defense 3 steps ahead made him virtually unguardable. In today's positionless, switch-heavy NBA, Bird would be a matchup nightmare. Against smaller defenders, he'd punish them in the post. Against bigger defenders, he'd stretch them out to the three-point line, forcing them to guard in space. And if you sent a double team, Bird's passing ability would pick you apart. One thing we have to consider is longevity. Bird's career was shortened by chronic back issues, a problem that worsened due to the travel, training, and medical technology of the 1980s. Today, with load management, modern rehabilitation techniques, and advanced recovery tools like cryotherapy and personalized strength programs, Bird's career arc could look very different. Instead of retiring at 35 with his body breaking down, he might have played into his late 30s, maybe even early 40s, just like LeBron James. And that extra time? That's more seasons to stack MVPs, All-NBA selections, and playoff runs. Stats and skills are one thing, but Bird's true weapon was his mind. He was a master at reading the flow of a game, manipulating defenses, and getting into opponents' heads. The trash talk wasn't just for show. Bird used it as a psychological weapon, breaking players mentally before beating them physically. That kind of competitive fire translates to any era. Think about it. In a league full of young stars with enormous talent, but varying mental toughness, Bird's composure and swagger would be a separator. The playoffs? That's where he'd shine even brighter. If Bird entered the NBA today, it's hard to imagine him not being in the MVP conversation year after year. With his blend of scoring, rebounding, and playmaking, plus his leadership, he'd be the kind of player franchises build around. And remember, Bird thrived in an era loaded with Hall of Famers. He went head-to-head with Magic Johnson, Julius Erving, and Isaiah Thomas. In today's NBA, he'd be battling LeBron, Giannis, and Jokic, and he'd relish every single matchup. So would Larry Bird dominate in today's NBA? The answer is a resounding yes. Give him the three-point volume of a modern superstar, the benefits of today's training and recovery, and an offensive system designed to maximize his skill set. And you're looking at a player who could not only keep up with the best, but outshine them. Bird wouldn't just be good in today's NBA. He'd be a generational talent all over again. What do you think? Would Larry Bird be a top 5 player in today's NBA? Could he win MVPs against the likes of Jokic, Giannis, and Luka? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Smash that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into NBA legends and today's stars.